Hello, everyone, and welcome back to GD TV. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming, and I am joined by my friend, Uncle Sharma. Uncle Sharma, you and I talked about a year ago about a potential rumor of Tajon Buchanan to Inter Milan. Fast forward a year, the transfer actually happened. What are your initial thoughts? And just let me know how you've been.
Yeah, man, I've been doing great, and even myself, the first when we first signed Buchanan, my first thought was, oh, Josh, thinking of my friend Josh, and almost exactly a year ago we talked about this, and it's coming to reality. So, yeah, we're excited. We're excited about this. I'm looking forward to talking to you about it.
Now, I'm curious because this is one of the biggest transfers in Canadian history. I'd say this is the second biggest to Alphonso Davies joining Bayern Munich. It is massive. And I personally, despite you and I talking about it and me tweeting about it, I wasn't sure if it was ever going to happen because these rumors have come and gone so many times. So the fact that it actually did happen, I'm just curious to see how it's perceived from the Inter fans. Were they excited? Did they like the profile? Were they like, where's Buchanan coming from? Did they look at the league and Club Brugge as like a proper signing? What do you think the fans were when they saw this transfer?
I think it's a mixed bag because, as you said, he's not coming from the most well-known team and most well-known league from the Belgian league and Club Brugge, even though they've been in Champions League and stuff. So it was a mixed perception, and even when we talked about it a year ago, we both recommended him for Inter. But as you said, to me as an Inter fan, he didn't seem like an Inter signing because usually, especially under the guidance of our current CEO. Beppe Marotta, who's usually we're kind of, if we go for these, especially wing backs over the last few years, we go for a bit more of experience, paired like when we signed Ashley Young from, Man United, or we got Matteo Darmian, that's kind of the signings that I see us making more. And even if it is someone a bit more risky, like we bought Valentin Lazaro from Hertha Berlin a few years ago, which was a flop, but he was from the Bundesliga. So this is a little bit of a surprise that it happened. But Inter fans, I would say we're excited because in terms of his profile, we haven't had a wing back like him since Perisic left the club. So, a guy that can dribble, has a bit of pace about him, a bit of athleticism, has a bit of a goal threat. Because of our wing backs currently, Di Marco's got a great left foot, but he's not the most athletic guy or much of a dribbler. Dumfries, on the other hand, is not very technical at all. He's more of like a powerful runner. So it's nice in profile wise. It's definitely adding something different to this team. So some guys are I'm convinced because of guy that we're signing is already 24 years old, so he's not young. So people are not convinced, but some people are quite excited by what he could offer in the future.
Now, there's no getting around the fact, like we said, it's a giant step going from the Belgian league to not only a top 5 league, but to a club that was just in the Champions League final that is expected to win trophies. They're leading the league right now. It is a huge step, but it's one that Tajon Buchanan is going to take like that. Now, I remember, and I still think this to today, but when we talked about it a year ago, we said out of the profiles of the teams out there, Inter makes sense because of their system. We got that. But there's also no getting away from the fact that teams in Serie A have to sell players. It's just, it's part of the game. And it's how well you replace those players. So when we looked at Inter, we looked at Dumfries, who just came off, I believe, a pretty successful World Cup at the time we were recording, and we assumed that big money would come from the Prem. He would leave, and this could be a very strategic signing. Dumfries is still here. They signed Buchanan with him. Darmian. Do you think down the line he is a replacement for probably Dumfries? Do you assume that maybe the rest of the season he'll kind of figure out the league a little bit, get the odd minutes, and then maybe more of a chance to start or at least get some significant minutes next season? Or do you think Dumfries might be here to stay too?
Yeah, no, again, I think that still is the key of this deal. I think Dumfries, especially now, his deal is expiring in 2025. And Di Marco just renewed, Lautaro's renewing, like the few guys, Mkhitaryan just renewed. And his one, there was contract talks about his renewal, but apparently the reports are saying that he's asking for quite a bit more than what Inter are offering. So it looks like he's not going to be renewing, and I'm sure Inter, he's always been on my personal number one list to sell, to monetize from him. But definitely now that he's not renewing, I'm sure Inter don't want to lose him on a free. So I think he I doubt it would be this January window, but in the summer, I think he will be potentially leaving. And then, that would be the spot that Buchanan has been brought in to cover, basically, because we had Cuadrado, who we just signed as well last summer, and he's out for pretty much the rest of the season now. We signed him from Juventus, so numerically he's there to cover that position right now. But in the future, for sure, I think we've been scouting, as you said, we've been talking about it for over a year. So we scouted him for over a year. Our sporting director Ausilio must see something in him. Inzaghi, I wouldn't imagine this signing has been done without the approval of Inzaghi. I don't imagine him getting minutes like this season, to be honest. I think this first 6 months are going to be just a lot of coaching, and he's going to have to bide his time and learn Italian, learn the ways of, Serie A without being stereotypical. It is a more defensive league compared to other leagues, and more tactical for sure. He's going to get to grips with that. And if Dumfries leaves from next year, I do expect more minutes and expect him to kick on. I don't know if he's going to be the starting right wing back, but I do, the signing has been made for that potential.
Now, Canadians out there probably didn't want to hear that, but that makes the most sense. And I think a lot of fans out there would recognize that, this is a very big team. This is a team this is a giant step. You can't just expect to go in there. I agree with what you say. I'm assuming the only way he'd maybe start a match is if there is injuries and he gets an opportunity. Other than that, for you looking at him to have maybe a successful half season here, would you want to see him maybe come off the bench a little bit? That's probably like the only role we'd maybe see him in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, maybe use his pace, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like even just the other day we played Hellas Verona and we needed like a last minute, winner to get a goal. And definitely I would see him being useful in that type of situation, bring him on instead of Dumfries or Darmian, because both of them are not, don't provide that type of attacking threat. So I would like to, even if it's a left wing back as well. So, now 3-5-2, I think he can provide a bit of attacking threat on both sides. So definitely he can still play a part. And yeah, even Dumfries, he's recently been kind of injured. He was out for a couple of weeks. He came back and then he got kind of a small injury again in the last game. So yeah, if there's injuries, then definitely his game time could be better than I thought.
Now, I was going to ask you that because when I look at the way that this team plays, and Buchanan is as versatile as it gets. I've seen him play at right wing back, left wing back, right back, left wing, right wing. He's played it even in the middle of the park a couple times. I assume, just again, given his profile in this system, we will probably only ever see him at right wing back and left wing back, right? There's no real.
Inzaghi just doesn't change system. He's always 3-5-2 until death.
Until death. That makes sense, and that's where that's where I think we're gonna get the best out of him, anyway. So I guess, Uncle Sharma, if you had one piece of advice for Tajon Buchanan, or one thing you think is crucial for him to learn this season to be successful and have a successful 4.5-year spell here, what would it be?
Well, outside of learning Italian, would be just patience. Yeah, I think don't get impatient and try to think I've been signed and now I'm not getting any playtime. Like, just use this. Try to be a sponge in this first few months and just try to learn off, these guys like Darmian, these really experienced heads. Try to learn off the coaching staff. Try to stick to, the English-speaking guys. That we have quite a few English-speaking players in the team. I'm sure will help him out. And don't put pressure on yourself in this first 6 months, and then try to kick on as soon as the summer friendlies come in. That's the chance for him to really kick on.
Yep, I think that's good advice, and that was part of when he moved on from the Revs and joined Club Brugge. It was kind of awkward because when the MLS season ends, it's January. It's never an easy time to move clubs because there's already an established team. Belgium had a bit of a break, so he had a little bit better time there. But yeah, I agree. I don't want Canadians out there to not be like, waking up every morning to try to watch Tajon Buchanan play, because that's probably not going to be the case. But if you want to tune in, if you want to get to know Inter, you can obviously watch it and maybe tune in for the last 15 or so minutes and hopefully see Buchanan have some type of impact, because I think he can be a very fun player. And I still don't think his total potential has been unlocked. He's still a little bit raw in my eyes. So I think that gritty Italian way might be a perfect opportunity for him to just grow as a player. So Uncle Sharma, my man, I appreciate you coming on the channel once again a year later to discuss the transfer we talked about a year prior. So I appreciate it, my man. Hopefully, if anyone wants to check out Uncle Sharma, you can do so over on YouTube to learn a little bit more about Inter and hopefully follow Buchanan there. Thank you for the time, my man, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you later. Thank you.